every human being is craving for someone who can listen to them. Do we agree?
It's a continuous process of educating yourself. Just because you do a business and people trust you doesn't mean that you should think you know everything.
Accepting failure as part of the process of learning and as part of the process of being successful.
I had to fulfill my dream of becoming a medical doctor.
We came up with a unique framework known as business process intelligence.
Why can I not be that PR? Be that person that will rally bloggers and then give them a strategy to go out there and tell stories.
It's good to diversify. One area fails, you should be able to pick up with the other.
You have to be delusional about the dream you have.
When we talk about diversity and dynamism, which is the theme of today, we look at it as growth.
Thank you, Jude, for this kind invite. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm Kareen TK. I'm an event planner. We go way back, really, with Jude, when we all started in Boya. I mean, I have the impression that a lot of us here started in Boya, literally. And I begin to think that half the time you see your future, even when, I kind of try to, the stories I've listened so far is almost like there's a certain pattern with people that have a way of thinking and a way of doing things from the very beginning. Because I think by the time we met, we were young graduates. We had finished from Boya, and I get to see me, for example, I was a graduate of University of Boya, Environmental Science. And at the time, we're looking for jobs, we had hopes, but in a very practical sense, we didn't really know what we could offer. I remember I sent my CV somewhere, and a friend of mine had recommended me, and I sat in front of the director, and at the time he was asking me, okay, fine, you have a degree in environmental science, but what can you really do? And to be honest, I didn't really know what I could do. I just knew I had a degree and I'll have a job. At the time, I didn't have the skill on how to handle things on the internet. I didn't have the skill. I didn't really know what it meant to be in a professional setting, what I was supposed to do. I just knew, okay, I've done environmental science. I mean, I should go in the company, they'll tell me to do something, I'll do it. Full stop. And I have the impression that at one point in time, I hope the education system might be changing, but at one point in time, a lot of people have degrees and they don't really know what to do. So we found ourselves, I, Jude, Felix, and another friend of ours, we were literally trying to find our way after having our degree. And then I think we were at a certain time when this whole blogging thing was coming in and people were being very receptive of it. Because I remember with my friend, she was like, I'm going to have a blog. And I asked her, what is a blog? Then she showed me Google, how she did a blog spot. And I was like, okay. Then I remember I'm somebody who likes partying. I like social stuff. And my cousin had gotten married a while before, and there was a lot of things that went wrong with how her wedding was planned, to be honest. The food was really sour during the reception. She complained so much. There were a lot of things that went wrong. And it was something that I liked doing, but at the time I didn't know how to do it. So that's one of the things that made me to go into the whole... In the beginning, it was really a magazine, TK's Bridal Magazine, which I did a number of issues on. The idea was to find tips to help brides on how to better manage their events, how do you get the right vendors? And so I was working a lot with vendors in the field, promoting them, whether you're a caterer, you're a photographer. So I got to work with a lot of people in that field, and I promoted as much as I could at the time, came out with the issues of the TK's Bridal Magazine. And as with time, I think the theme of this connects is the idea of evolving. Because for 1 minute, something is, we'll say, a la mode, and everybody's like, okay, we like this, but the business scenario changes, it evolves. New ideas coming, people see things differently, and you have to adapt as a business person. You don't just stay on one spot, At the time we're doing the magazine, even with Camel Link magazine, people were still very into the reading of paper magazines and stuff. We're not very Instagram blogs and all of that. I mean, I remember I opened an Instagram page, but I had no idea what to do with it, really. Cameroonians were very focused on Facebook. So yeah. I had the page there, but I didn't use it that much. I was really on Facebook. I was promoting my stuff on Facebook that much. Then before we want to realize, in the twinkle of an eye, by the time we're getting to 2019, 2020, everybody was on Instagram, and Instagram blogs were a thing. And we are switching, we're going to Instagram too, And then I'm also looking at the phase of, okay, I've been promoting people and stuff. I'm getting to know more about the business itself of event planning as a wedding planner, as well as other, because of course it's a continuous process of educating yourself. Just because you do a business and people trust you doesn't mean that you should think you know everything. You're constantly educating yourself. The good thing about us these days is that we don't need to go to a physical library the way we were in UB, where you needed to have your library card and go and read a book. From your phone, you have access to a lot of information. You can get a lot of education online. So I was educating myself everywhere I could. And that's how I decided to go and become an event planner myself and get in contact with this. Because even while I was doing the magazine, I had a lot of people contacting me directly and asking me to plan events. In the beginning, I'm like, but I'm not an event planner. I just help people know what to do. But I realized in a way I was an event planner, because doing that is literally the job of an event planner. People come to you, they tell you, I'm not in Cameroon, I'm going to get married in December, I have no idea where to start from, please tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay, this is what you can do, this is where you can get a hall, this is where you can do this. And I literally help you mediate between the vendors and yourself. I help you handle payment negotiations and all of that. And that was something I loved doing. So yes, I did environmental science, and that's a good thing because you have the basic education you need. Then you find your path, and it becomes this passion that not only you enjoy doing, but it becomes a good source of income. And I totally loved it. And that's what I kept doing and doing. But like I said, ça change, ça évolue, it's evolving. And I started doing event planning very well in 2017. I had my first client, very serious client, 2017. And it has been evolving. And then we now have media platforms where you can get people to get together. I remember the entrepreneur, he mentioned he even opened an online shop. It became a thing too. You know, there were all these people coming. At the time, it was not really apps. People were definitely doing platforms like you could sign up on a platform to get information, maybe look for a job. I remember Joku at the time, who was really celebrated for having this, platform where you could go to a search engine for you to find a job and all of that. So it was literally part of our time. You remember? Yeah. It was literally part of our time. So those things attracted my attention a lot. I'm an event planner. I've done environmental science. Then I became a tech enthusiast. I'm like, damn, I like this. I want to learn how to do it. I remember the first time I wanted to even create my website, I contacted a certain friend of mine who was good at websites. And it's not like he asked me for a lot of money, but I found like he was dragging his body a lot. Like, you want to work with somebody, and it's like, yeah, we'll work on it next week. Next week you call him, I'm a little busy. We'll do it next week. And then 1 month has passed, you've done nothing. I'm like, damn, okay, I'll learn how to do it myself. And I learned how to create a website. I learned how to create platforms. I learned how to create apps. I literally decided I'm not just going to sit and say, I'm a girl, I don't do stuff. Because at one point it was like, each time you talk tech, everybody's thinking it's a guy thing, But I said, no, I'm going to learn it. It's ça peut pas me dépasser. It can't be more than me. I'm going to do it. And I learned it. And so being in the events industry, I am a professional in the industry. I know the things that people need when they're doing their events. I know the things that fellow professionals need to make their work as event professionals simplified, And one of the most, I think, the first step for anyone who is looking to do an event is finding the perfect venue. I want to believe that Mr. Jude, while he was trying to, every single time he's tried to get, something for Hovareigns Connect, his first thing in what is the right venue for me to receive the people that I'm going to, host for my event. And finding the perfect venue is so important because the venue in itself depicts the quality of the event you're going to do. Most of the time, when somebody says, hey, where are you doing your wedding or your seminar? When you call the kind of hall, it has a certain psychological effect on the people who know are coming. I'm going to an event in this place, then it must be this kind of standing and stuff, I'm going to an event that maybe is like this, it could be. It has a certain psychological impact. And I know that firsthand because that's literally what I do. And that's how I decided to come up with the platform Z Spaces. So Z Spaces literally is a platform. You go there. If you're looking for a space either for a wedding, you're looking for a space for a house party, you're looking for space for seminar, it doesn't matter what space you're looking for your event, you go on zspaces.com. you get to find the kind of space you want. And the good thing about thespaces.com is that you get to find the spaces, the pricing. You can get to find booking dates. Are they available? Are they not available? You can get to contact the booking manager to discuss with them, to know, specificities that they may not have mentioned on their page, on their venue page. And then you can book online directly. You don't need to displace yourself. But then for those people who still feel like I want to go physically, you can even book directly there a virtual visit, meaning you can get to visit a space without being present. I did this particularly for people who are abroad or not in the same town as a venue. I can be here and I want to do a hall in Gaundere, for example. I've never been in Gaundere, but I really need to get a space in Gaundere. And I decided, okay, I've seen this place, it looks nice and all. Can I contact the space manager, see what the space looks like, even in the virtual visit, before I can tell myself, okay, that looks like something that is interesting, and go to make a further decision. You can do that on thespaces.com, literally. So that exactly. So that is what I did, and so far my colleagues, especially the event planners, they love it. They love it a lot. And it's not only for event planners, because an event planner is not always the professional person. An event planner is anyone who has an event to plan. If you're planning your wedding by yourself, you need a space. At that moment, you're an event planner. You're planning your birthday, you need a space. Restaurant space, 50 spaces only. You don't know where to start from. Go on thespaces.com. You're going to find that. And so that is really my journey. And like you said, it's a journey. We all tell ourselves that we're looking for where we are going to, like the final stop. But I believe that life itself is a journey. Until the day that our breath stops, we are on a journey.
That's right.
And the best thing anyone can do is enjoy their journey as much as they can. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's easy. Nothing is easy. But I believe that the hard part is you learning to do better, be a better version of yourself, and keep improving every single day. And that's what I've done. I've learned to evolve. I've looked around. There are moments like Mr. Franklin said, there are moments when you try something, it doesn't work. I remember the very first time I did a platform, Tickets Bridal. Tickets Bridal, before I went into Pew magazine, I did a platform for events vendors, like everybody photograph. It was actually a platform you could go there and do your advertisement, like create a page and stuff. And I was talking with a lot of vendors at the time, and somebody told me, okay, your platform is good and all. And I had a lot of people signed up, but it didn't do that well because at the time, everybody was really focused on Facebook. And it was literally just like what you call a place where you just go, you take numbers and you use, and it literally is like you're trying to compete with someone who has literally more. It's not new, literally. You know, your service you're offering, someone who has more financial backing and has more population on their platform, you're competing with. It's very tough, especially when you don't have the financial, to back up.
Do it as big as they do.
So I thought about it, I tried, and then I said no. And that's how I've evolved. And
of course, today you have something really amazing. I mean, like I said, I called her because just like we keep doing, it's important that as we are here, I keep repeating this because that is what exactly Hovareigns Connect is. It's about, sharing what we do, talking about what we do, and ensuring that people can be able to, listen to our stories and also get to be inspired by what we are doing.